Doesn't, oh, that's probably,
Okay, well, we're not muted now. View, oh. Sorry, sir,
hi Doug,
can you
can you
hear
hear
us?
us now?
It's like he's still muted.
Oh,
Okay.
he's muted.
Technology.
I could see you guys talking, but I couldn't respond.
Sorry about that, we were muted, sorry, we didn't
Yeah,
realize.
that's fine.
All we did was approve the minutes so far.
Okay.
Okay, and now we were moving on to public hearings. We don't have any of those, and it looks like our only guest is for 219 Newport. So we have no visitor comments. So we'll move on to 219 Newport Avenue. And so did anyone have any comments on this particular property? We have a few bits of information here.
Yeah,
Not a lot, but
I did as much research as I could. I couldn't find too much in terms of historic relevance. Yeah. I did
Yeah, I
do
found
provide-
I found the building permit in 1939. The same builder built several houses on that section of Newport around the same time. But really just scanning through newspaper accounts, it's had well over a dozen owners. And the current owner is actually the person living in there the longest that I could find, 23 years. And so, yeah, they want to tear it down and build a new home to replace it.
from the other information, I understand there's some trouble with the basement, the water and the.
Yeah,
basement. It's on a pipe
the
now.
base, the garage sits below street level, and so the water, you can see.
Yeah, I'll share. Yeah, because it's, I mean, it's gonna have some unique architectural features, but not really, just a little bungalow. But yeah, I definitely, I mean, one of the reasons why they are claiming that it needs to, that they're seeking this demolition, is just because the cost of repair, as we all know, the water is slipping downward.
Yeah.
And it was built in 1939. It was remodeled in 52, but
Right,
I think they're
It's a
along the
small
lines that it's
place
small and
to
also
spend very much money repairing the foundation for it. So,
And also when the garage, it doesn't look like there's any other access for a garage. And the garage is undersized, so. It's
Yeah.
oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
another
kind
thing.
of, it's a little bit of a tricky one. So,
This is one of those where the house itself isn't necessarily anything, but that row of buildings along that street, they're all similar brick
They are.
cottages
yes,
with a certain aesthetic to that street. And it's more like how they build there rather than like, like demolition, I should be fine. It's just more like architectural review, like who are they gonna replace it with? That's not like a question.
Yeah, I did provide the plans, I think, in here. That's what they're hoping to do. If I'm correct,
And that's-
maybe I'm not, maybe that's just me speaking.
Yeah.
All right, well, there,
That's outside.
maybe Tracy can speak to it.
We don't really do that.
that's one thing that, like,
Interesting.
when we talk about conservation districts, that street would be able to maybe come together and say, right,
Yeah.
we don't want whatever it is they don't want. Or
It's also
do.
village.
We don't want a 3-story thing.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't want something that sticks out.
Yeah.
We want something that actually, we want actually something that stands back. Not, back from the street, but stands away from, and these others stand out, allows them to stand out rather than the new ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just identify the like size and massing elements that they want and call those out that would make a suitable fit for them.
To keep that neighborhood, because it is a nice little street, I think.
It is so nice.
Yeah,
Homes
Yeah.
that are,
That same
Fine.
builder built, this is 219, I think he built going the other direction, 205, 207, about 6 houses around in that same section. He built at the same time in 1939. All the building permits were there,
And
and
most
one
of-
across the street too.
Most of them don't have painted brick. That's nice to see.
Yeah, so Commissioner Collins is on here. Do you want to hear from her about it at all?
From Tracy.
Yes.
You say
Yeah, that's here. I'll get back to
She
you.
has anything else to say?
No, it's
Those
definitely
other ones with the dormers on the top started out like this one, and they added a second story.
Would
one.
be,
Mhm.
pretty small, and
Mhm.
upstairs.
I think.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, Tracy. Do you have anything, you would like to add about it? You've been able to hear us, I hope.
Yeah, yeah, I was just here to answer any questions that you guys had. Yeah, so nothing really to add beyond our letter that we presented to you.
Okay. Thank you. All righty. So does anybody have anything? I mean, from a historic point, it's kind of, we don't have anything, so not much we can do. Okay, all right. Do we have a motion for 219 Newport Avenue?
I'll make a motion to approve the demolition request of 219 Newport.
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, hearing none. The demolition request for 219 Newport Avenue is approved.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you very much.
Question. Do I need to include Tracy Collins and the people present on the minutes?
You could just put her as in the part, I think as in the part of where you put under the
discussion.
discussion of the demolition, you can put that she was present. But not as, right, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's how I would do it.
Like a guest, yeah, like,
Because she's not a visitor.
Here.
She just was there.
She's
for
the
that.
contractor.
to represent the project.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. And then I think if we all think that's fine, nobody else is gonna look at
You all wonder. That's the architect, right?
We're your biggest
Yes,
critics.
Tracy Collins. But I think she has the name of her firm and everything.
In terms of old business, something that isn't on here, but I do want to bring it up. I've been working. I haven't been able to dive into it as much. I poked around a little bit today. But we are working on harvesting some of the information from the website in terms of the historic homes, the century homes and such. So that's been a project that particular commissioner has been working on. So.
Yeah, John and I met and we were looking at the feasibility, just kind of getting a feel for the feasibility of having a Webster Landmarks collection on Missouri Digital Heritage.
Right.
And we talked a little bit, and John indicated that everything that's uploaded needs to be in PDF. And I talked with Joel, and the things that we know about, the background nomination information is in PDF, but there's some of it that's archived. And Joel was trying to find out what form that's in and if how accessible that would be to us. And then John was contacting the state to find out what would be actually involved in creating a collection. We're just kind of trying to get a feel for how feasible this might be.
Yeah, there is, I heard actually back from today, there is a application process, but they didn't see why they wouldn't agree to it. I mean, we already have a collection on there. And they thought this would seem worthwhile. I explained it to them. And essentially what we would have, the collection would be, there's what, 50 or 6, not quite 60
I don't know
homes or
exactly.
buildings. Each one has the documentation's in a PDF form, so we would upload that onto the website along with a description of the building. And then, so it's searchable by that description, by the address, by the owner, the original owner builder.
That's nice.
And it would just be readily available there on Missouri Digital Heritage.
So is there any need for money,
No.
funding? Or
No.
It's just,
That's the beauty part.
yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, and it should be, as long as they're in PDF form once we sort of figure out the structure of the collection, like what kind of fields we need to have and stuff. I mean, uploading the files wouldn't take long at all. I mean, we could have this, in the summer, I don't see why not. So,
Great.
yeah, just a matter of, like I said, kind of building the structure of the collection, and then we've got a software that takes the PDF and then, I put it onto there and then it uploads it onto the website. Yeah, and then maybe writing a little 2 or 3 sentence description of each property. But that's essentially already done in the documentation, so we could just copy from that. So it should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I guess we would have to kind of get official permission before we like forge ahead.
Yeah,
As
so
far as with for the mayor and the city council and
Oh,
the city manager, so nobody feels surprised.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably good, that the city of Webster Groves is doing something, yeah, that's probably a good
Yeah,
point.
kind of. Yeah.
City council should know.
Yeah, so I mean, I personally think that it's quite cool. And
Yeah.
that, all of the work that we've done over the years should be accessible, not only, for Webster citizens, but for everybody.
Mhm.
And the fact that, it's volunteer labor, most of the work's already done, and the state will host the information for free. I just think it seems like a go.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
No
So-
reason not to do it.
So where we're at kind of in the process is that I'm working on essentially trying to see about the feasibility of harvesting the stuff both from the city website and also from our internal records. And then we're gonna seek the permission, I think, at that point, once we kind of have an idea of the scope of work.
Right, and
Um,
yeah, that sounds great, because, we need to, like you were saying, sort of identify the form it's in and how accessible it is to really get our arms around exactly how much work it will be and,
Right.
time frame and such. And, I think it's,
Yeah, I'm hoping by the next meeting that we'll have a little bit more of a concrete plan.
okay,
Great.
So,
And then you can let us know like how much work.
Do you have any examples of the format for any properties on the website already?
so yeah, I
See
pulled
what
up the
we're doing.
website here. Sorry, did you?
Oh, I can show you what it would look like
Yeah.
if you want. Sorry. Yeah. I can have an example from our Kate movie collection.
That guy didn't want to. You have to, okay. I don't know if it typed or not, sometimes. I literally spent like 3 minutes trying to get it to type. There's like a lag in it.
that's,
Okay.
yeah, people have had problems with that keyboard is sticky or something.
Something.
So when you go into the website,
Oh,
it just
okay,
looks
okay.
like,
Yeah, so this is our Kate Moody collection. So we've got 10,155 documents in that collection, and they're a combination of JPEGs like this, which is just a newspaper article. So you've got the original document up there, and then you have what we transcribed down below. So in this collection, we took every single document and created a Google Doc translation of it to make it searchable. We're not going to do that for this because it's just, we're only looking for the address. It's all one. Yeah, I don't think we would need to do that. But to show you so this one, anything that was a single image, like a JPEG, would just be one thing like this. That's the entire document. I can show you what a PDF would look like.
such a good scan.
It does. It is actually.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
good.
Yeah, I think it
It's
is.
not typing again.
3 times a charm.
There, I see this cursor.
The other cursor's there.
Is it like a numbers lock type of situation?
It was kind of weird when I was typing a little earlier. So
Maybe it needs a new battery.
it couldn't do better.
Cursing and pounding the mouse.
Turn it off, turn it off and turn it back on.
You can also, spin the battery around. That works sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I do that with my remote all the time.
There you go.
I just don't want to get up and replace the battery.
So this one, this happens to be a 43-page document on, it's actually pretty cool. History of old roads, pioneer settlers, and early communities in St. Louis County.
It's true.
And so someone calling up a particular address, in our landmark building collection, this would come up. We would have a brief description down here of what it is. But then when you click on the little arrows, it opens up the entire document. And you can scroll through, print, download, etc.
Public information.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So it takes, so this is just a 43-page PDF.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
So again, on these, we transcribe the entire document, so it's also the whole text is down here, but we're not gonna be doing that. We would need to with this because it's pretty self-explanatory what people are looking for. So having those documents, the documentation PDF format, it's just a matter of uploading them. It'll be in this format. We would need to decide what fields we have down here to, the file names, and we would have some kind of description, and then we have down at the end, credits as far as like where it comes from. This is from us and the Historical Society. This was published by the Watchman Advocate, this particular document, etc.
That seems great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it'd be pretty cool. And then that way, when they make new historical landmarks, we just upload those to add to the collection. Yeah. So if something, like I said, they have to pass it around to get approval. If I do have a backup plan, if they say, well, sorry, we're not, we don't want that, we can also put it on our Webster Groves Historical Archive.
Oh, nice.
Here we've got, this is where we have all of our building permits and tax records. We have photos of churches. I just added one on the school district that we did last summer, where we have each school and photographs for each school and descriptions. So we could do something similar for this, where we'd have the PDF files for each building, and where they would just click on it and open it up and read through it. So either way, we'll be able to get something.
What website is that again?
This is on our library website.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a exhibit that we did at the library last summer, and then I had created this on our digital heritage. On our our digital archive that we have at the library website. Schools.
What's neat?
Picture of the high school.
That's so junior high. Look at that design.
Yeah.
What is that thing supposed to be in the middle?
That's the sneaker.
Yeah, that's Steger. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way it currently looks. What is that?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's
That's
a-
the auditorium.
it's an
The
auditorium.
auditorium.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So, yeah, one time Webster had 3 junior high schools. They had Steger and Hickson and Plymouth.
Plymouth?
Yeah, Plymouth is where the condos are across from the library.
Right, so.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Plymouth Junior High School, and that they tore down in the 80s and then built the condos.
Mm,
The YMCA was right there.
mm.
Well, yeah, YMCA is right directly across from us.
Right.
Yeah, this is further across Plymouth from Webster University. Yeah.
In the same
Where that
area.
condo building.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, here's the high school. That's where it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that one.
Pretty cool.
Is there a plaque or something there for where the?
But what's interesting is that the developer who had it torn down to build the condos was a alum of Plymouth Junior High School.
So how
Oh,
about
wow.
Yeah, when you say condos, I was thinking of the newer ones.
Oh, the new
Oh, where-
apartment
right,
across,
yeah,
yeah.
the-
no,
yeah.
These are those giant ones
Yeah,
that are
Yeah.
across from like Eden.
So how long was that junior high there then? Wasn't there, was it there very long? Was
In
it like-
1960.
It was there when we moved here.
You can read this.
Oh, okay, so,
Yeah,
so it
so,
was,
yeah, in 1960, they opened up Plymouth and Steger at the same time.
so Plymouth was a short-lived
Yeah,
building.
yeah, it closed in the late 70s, and then,
That's not
Webster
I don't know if that's a good sign.
Webster University was renting it from the school district for
Ah.
classroom space. They wanted to buy it to make it permanent, and this developer outbid them
Oh,
for the condos.
I see. Wow,
Even then.
that was when they had all the ratings.
Yeah,
Yeah, so really until, it was only a junior high with 3 grades until 1975,
Yeah.
and then it became just a 9th grade extension to the high school.
That's when they had all the kids. There was the trouble with, everybody had like 10 kids in their house, right?
Baby
Now we've got
boomers.
one. Right,
Yeah.
you know, the
Yeah,
big
that's- The,
child, there's not.
yeah,
I was 2
1950s
years old.
exploded.
Right, I was gonna say, I was
with
part of
construction.
it.
That's wild.
Okay.
I don't want to move us on to the
Okay.
next thing.
That's
But to be
fine.
mindful of everyone's time, the only other thing I didn't put it on here, but I did want to bring up was that she presented in front of city council.
Oh.
We made our budget requests. I guess we wait now.
Yeah, they didn't say whether we get it or not,
They
Yeah,
we didn't,
that wasn't
so
Oh,
no.
who knows? But
uh,
we were normal for budgeting
I
requests. Some
think so,
people
too.
have requested, a couple were very, very high.
yeah, there's a couple, there's one was to 20-some thousand, and then there was one that was like 8.
Yeah.
Well, there's
other
a couple
people at
ones.
zero,
also.
of course,
We're a
yes.
bargain.
So-
Exactly, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
yeah,
$100 didn't seem like anything.
yeah.
So that went
Yeah,
well,
big.
very
Very deal.
straightforward, very easy. So I I wanted to, did you do your?
Okay, I just want to follow up on the articles I was gonna write for the Historical Society.
Oh my gosh, that's.
Instead of doing one article, I decided I'm gonna do 3, one on Bethany, one on Lustron, and one on Marvin Court, because it just seemed like it would be so long to
Long,
combine them all into one article. And I have one piece of information, I've started drafting the Bethany one, but I have one piece of information that I have not been able to find, and I was wondering, if Joel or John, if you could be helpful to me. Who bought that church?
Oh, the
Who's
Lutheran church?
running it now?
Yeah, who bought it and is
Well,
fixing it up?
It's St. Peter's Change,
Stainless
St.
steel real
Peter's
estate.
Chains
Yeah.
Catholic Church.
St. Peter's, what?
Chains,
Chains?
CHA.
Like ball and chain?
Yeah,
Chains?
yes, St. Peter's Change.
Catholic Church.
It's I believe it's a Catholic church. They had been renting space over in Kirkwood and wanted their own building.
What's the street address?
It is, hang on,
407 Fairview or something like that, something 407.
yeah, 407 Fairview Avenue.
So St. Louis County has a.
I
That's
did that
most
and it
counties.
still
Oh,
shows
it still shows
Bethany.
the old owner.
Still shows
Yeah, it's
Bethany.
yeah, it takes a while sometimes to update.
And then I went to the deeds
Yeah.
site
Yeah,
and
Oh,
they
the
want you to sign
tapestry?
up and
Yeah.
pay
Yeah.
for it.
it
And I didn't mind, it was like only $1, but then there were reviews that said they'll keep charging you every month unless you,
Mm.
and I don't wanna get involved in all of that. So, yeah, see, it
Yeah, it
still
is
says the
crazy.
Bethany Danish.
John, I wonder if you Google St. Peter's Chains, if it'll come up. If you
I can do that from home too.
Yeah.
St. Peter's.
Yeah, the tapestry thing, it is per click that you have to pay for. things. So
Yeah.
it's like, it adds up quickly.
I didn't wanna get
Oh.
involved in all of that, so I thought maybe you guys would know who it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's
'Cause that's
what
my
I have
happy
on my
ending.
side.
St. Peter's Chain.
Oh, that's in Rome.
Yeah.
That's the one, it's still listed as Kirkwood. St. Peter's Chains is still listed as
Yeah, I think it's to
Kirkwood.
put in Webster Roads.
It looked like it had their old address in Kirkwood, so it was something like.
We're close to. It's real cool.
Public hearing.
Yeah, there it
There's
is.
the name.
That was for their conditional use permit.
Oh, yeah, St.
Yeah.
Peter's Chains, looking to
Yeah.
purchase property, so,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
It is.
I won't go into a lot of detail about them, I just wanted to, end it by saying that it was purchased by another church.
It was great, yeah, the building was saved and
Yeah.
was in use.
As it is intended,
Yeah.
right?
It's got 3 houses now.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah,
And I will send out the article for everybody to take a look at it before I submit it. It's due the end of April. So I don't know if I'll get the other two done before then, but we'll see.
Well, you can maybe just do one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just feed them
Yeah.
one at a
Yeah.
time.
Spread it
They're only
out.
quarterly,
Yeah.
but you know, so it would be like every 3 months.
Yeah.
So-
Great, thank you.
What, did y'all look into, Sue, we were talking about maybe you being the liaison between our.
Well, it's in the minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So were we, yeah, I did.
I thought Joel was, it said
Yeah,
in the minutes you were
that's
gonna bring
all.
that up to the council.
Yeah, that is completely up to me. The liaison between us and what was the other one?
Historical Society.
Western Gross Historical Society.
Gonna make a real big thing.
I know it was in there. Here it is.
That is me.
You were-
I'm sorry, I dropped the ball.
Position with city government.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Well done.
I will do that
Okay.
tomorrow.
All right.
First thing I do when I get in the door.
All right.
We're gonna call you it, let's.
Hey, that's all right. You know where I'm at. Yeah, I'll be right down there.
Okay. All right, is that it? All
That's
right.
it for me.
Good job.
Okay, so then for the, talking of the conservation districts, was anything done?
Well, that's, I mean.
Hillary's not here.
Yeah, Hillary was gonna arrange a meeting, but I haven't heard anything.
She tried to get us together on a Saturday and I couldn't come and
There
you couldn't
There was
come.
two of us that couldn't come.
Yeah,
I was hoping that maybe she would be here tonight while we were all in one room. We could look at our phones and
Yeah.
pick a date that we could all schedule around.
yeah.
Even if it's 3 weeks from now, we would
Yeah.
at least get started. I don't know, do you want to think maybe the three of us could pick a couple of dates and we could contact Hillary and see what date would work for her so we could get started?
Yes, get moving on that.
Get
So they've
moving.
submitted the draft of the comprehensive
Yes.
plan.
They've submitted a draft. I haven't seen it yet, but I've been told that it has been submitted. So Elliot said he was gonna send it to me and then I think just as the day does the conferences, so. But I'm gonna take a look at it and I'll let you guys know the impact of it.
If it says anything about that, but so we're moving along. Yeah, and I know she's reviewing it or something, she's on, right? Hillary's on some sort of
I do.
committee.
I thought that was like the land trust. Was she out doing something on the land trust?
Yeah, she was involved in it
Okay.
somehow.
I don't know. Well, she's not here, so.
She said they asked her. I don't know if she
Yeah, I'm not
consented.
sure. Okay, well, anyway, she's not here, so we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think that seems like a good idea for you guys, if you wanna do that, or you wanna do it afterwards.
Yeah, we'll do it afterwards. Maybe we'll look at maybe a few dates that would work for the three of us and we can send it to Hillary and hopefully one of those dates will work for her.
Okay.
The only other thing is the under development stuff, where we would have a plaque or something like that. So one thing that they did say about it, oh, did you have a meeting?
So we did have a meeting with Onder, and they, I think, are still kind of want to keep it under wraps as to what they are planning. But they are, as we suspected, planning on developing that space. So. So I'm not. I just sort of
There was
is-
nothing
yeah.
for us, no information to.
Oh, no, outside of that, he didn't touch on like that. It was more of just like, hey, he had a question specific to the development that wasn't related to necessarily any designs, but.
Or anything about this, okay, okay. So they had asked that we provide the wording for whatever we're going to do, which is tricky, which comes first. Thing of where are we putting this, like what exactly are we going to do, and the wording. So I don't know that we necessarily need to do it now. Maybe if anyone, I know you were kind of interested in it, if you want to look up stuff and think about what to write, you might. I can't say that I think of myself as any great writer. So, having worked with people who do that and can look over the words and make it very good, lots of information in as few words as possible. I love that. for signs and plaques and stuff. That's always wonderful. So if anyone wants to think about it, what would be in there and that kind of information?
I have an idea. So we got a historical home on campus from the college that got demolished. And so we put a plaque in its place. So what we were able to do was put like an image of the home and so the history of what it was and what its function was on campus as like a memorial. I have a picture of it that I can show you, but I can look into that for sure and have something for our next meeting if that's the
Yeah, I don't think we're in a hurry. I just
Okay.
don't want to forget about it, or
Gotcha.
end up so far down the road that we're kind of, what was that?
Or we have to do something really fast.
Yes, that too,
I
exactly.
guess my only question would be like, what was it for Onder, like, what are their plans? Like, how big did they want the plaque to be?
That's the problem.
That would be,
Yeah,
we
I
kind of need
don't-
to know that.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think that, I can't speak for him. And I think that the project is very much in its early stages. So I think he's open to whatever he's kind of suggested might work best.
Okay.
There's a chance it could be more along the front of it, or it could be more inside the building. Just because that area has got some like things with it that he's got to sort out. So he's still very, very early in his things. I mean, he met with us mostly kind of just to say like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking, and like he had some areas that he's gonna have to work on before he's even ready to present it. And he also doesn't want to shoot the gun and then be like, oh snap, and have a whole big thing type deal. So
It's just a rough draft.
exactly, it's very, very. He didn't really come to the meeting with like his like designs or layouts or anything like that. So he's very much at the early stage.
He's got, I mean, that sounds like there's a couple of years before they'd install anything.
Yeah, so I think we got some time.
So we have a long
Yeah.
time.
But
So yeah, that's actually exactly what I was thinking. It makes it a little tricky on how much information you can put on
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
However, then any single sign, in my experience from the historians, you never want to put anything that anyone's gonna stop reading. So, right, you
Yeah.
want it to be short enough,
Mhm.
however you do that. So,
Yeah, I have someone helping me at the library as coworkers who's been digging into trying to find exactly when she and her first husband bought the property, and he thinks he's found the original deed from the 1880s. So they bought it from Cynthia Marshall herself. So it was Cynthia Marshall's
They did.
subdivision. Yeah.
okay, Oh, that's
but,
great.
But there's also, he said he's finding all kinds of deeds, like they leased out, they sold off little parts of it. They leased out part of it for oil and gas exploration in the 1880s. And I mean, just all kinds of wild stuff.
Oil and
Yeah.
gas?
well, good thing that didn't pan out.
Like, Humber and
Yeah.
Ashton Road,
Yeah.
Like you see a master, yeah, that's not.
Well, I mean, yeah, they,
Texas.
yeah, they think that they looks like they had moved from Carondelet Township, which was south of here, to North Webster with the migration of, when North Webster was settled in mid 1860s, 1870s.
Right,
And then they bought the property sometime in it was either the late 1870s, early 1880s from Cynthia Marshall. That bought that plot. Yeah.
when it's subdivided it all into the
Yeah.
one
To
3 acre
the
lots and
yeah.
gave it up to
Yeah.
recently freed
Right.
folks. Okay. That is wonderful. So would anyone want to be responsible for like keep it, you want to, like you said, it's hard to say what exactly you write, but do you want to keep all the information?
Yes,
Or would you want
I'd love to.
Okay, great. That would be great because it's good to have someone who's getting it. That would be wonderful. Then we're.
I have far too many photos. I'm still trying to find this photo.
That's how I feel most of the time. We believe you.
Thanks. I'll find it and then share it via email.
I mean, and also you could always, I mean, I know like at some point we're not like design experts in terms of plaques, but we could always just propose something and say, hey, this is what we think it should look like. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
could say, yeah, it's either too big or too small for what I was thinking. So, you know.
Yeah.
It does, well, right, well, so I've worked on enough historic buildings where we put these things in there and it doesn't happen for a really long time, like it's way down the line. And of course, it's one of the last things installed. It's not like they work around it. So, like we'll be good, I think. But yes, we certainly also will have to anyway ask him, you want this? You want that?
Right.
All that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll figure it out as we go. All right. And you'll keep track of the information. So we're not
Sure.
at loss. And that is so interesting that they found the deeds.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out if it's the original one, because these things are hard to read. It's digitized old documents, handwritten, but he thinks it looks like it's the one where they actually bought the 3 acres. So, yeah, and it was in the 1880s, and then her first husband died in 1887.
Yeah, we're kind of right away.
And then she remarried, but the property was sort of co-owned by all the kids and her, and then she bought it out from the kids around 1906 or yeah.
Well, and then when you look at her address, she just lives there and lives there and lives there. Other people go coming and going.
She lived in one
had
house
it in there,
and then tore it down, and then I think it was her daughter and her son-in-law built where she originally lived, and then she moved into a little smaller house next door, fronting on Shady or Kirkham. And then she had sold off the other parcels here.
I wonder, so it would be good, kind of interesting to say how much property there was left. So it was 3 acres that she started.
Yeah, the
with?
original rectangle was about 3 acres, and then
It went down to, do we know?
well, and part of it is cut through with a creek too.
Yeah, right. because they crossed
And then
over.
she had sold off 3 sublots in 1906 along Holland
Oh, on
Avenue.
the other side.
And then owned the main frontage along Shady Avenue, Kirkham Avenue, and had sold that house, that the tile store that's being torn down. That was the last property that she sold herself off. To have that built in 1926, I think, is when she sold that piece. And then she was left with she owned part of the lot behind it that the doctor ended up buying as well. And then she owned the 2 remaining lots that were fronting on Kirkham that have been torn down too. Her lot went right up to where that newer commercial building is, a 2-story. Yeah, that her property borders that. So her last old house was essentially next door to where that building is.
Has there been any archaeology on it?
That's how I know.
So now the one thing that I've thought about this with the whole thing though is, which who knows what they're going to do, but if they develop the whole thing, it's almost like that story is completely separate from the doctor's house and the doctor living there, right? They don't go together like a story.
It is a narrative, but they're 2 separate stories.
But yeah, so it's kind of,
Yeah, his was just a subplot of her
Yeah.
her 3
and he just is interesting all by himself.
He's
So-
interesting by himself. Yeah.
So it's sort of like a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to
Might
find
need
out
more
more
than one.
about her family, the Johnsons and Powell.
But see, that's what I was thinking,
Have a little
but the
series.
plaque is have like sort of a narrative of the building that's remaining and the history of that land in a summation. It won't be a dissertation for sure, but it'll be something brief that gives a synopsis of the significance of the site.
Right, I was thinking it's and I'm sure there are others. It's an example of what North Webster was. It
Yeah.
was property owned by former slaves who came here and were able to buy property on their own and build houses for the community and live there. I mean, we kind of stumbled across when they were tearing that tile store down. That was we kind of stumbled across her little story about owning that lot, and then we find out it was her first husband, and it goes into
Yeah.
back to the 1880s.
Now, I have a random silly question. What if someone, pray tell, wanted to have one of the bricks of that structure? Is it just as easy as driving by picking up a brick, or is that trespassing?
I would say not to just drive up and grab a brick, from the official city standpoint. I
Jason
don't,
said,
I don't think there's someone that's monitoring the site 24/7. But yeah, I think the official city standpoint would be not to go up and take a brick from an active construction site.
I would guess,
But
being on, having been on many construction sites,
Mhm.
you could ask the contractor and they.
And that's what I would want to do. And
They don't
the
care.
reason why I'm asking this is because, now you may not find this significant at all, but I find it very significant. So, A.L. Reynolds, Dr. Reynolds, was a member of Phi Beta Sigma, which we talked about. Now, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, so I'm a different fraternity, but we're part of the same council. So the brothers of Phi Beta Sigma in St. Louis, I'm sure will want a piece of that history. They're gonna have the written history,
Mhm.
but to have a living piece of that history would mean a lot to those brothers. And so
Get you bricks.
something like that, right? You know, so I would love to, and it's interesting because we have a thing in our fraternal, organizations with bricks. And so it just would be really neat if I could, so, have a couple of them for some, just as an artifact for an organization that means something. This structure means something to somebody, right? Other than us as historians. And so I wonder if that's a possibility.
That's a
Then we can ask
That's
Onder
good.
now, I mean.
I was gonna
He's
say
the
this.
owner, can we just ask him?
Yeah.
He's
And-
throwing it away.
Right, he's throwing it away, right?
Yeah.
And so,
That would be a surprise.
When's it scheduled to be torn down?
That would be the only thing.
I don't know. I think they have the permit to do the demolition. I just don't think they have started fully yet.
I
And that
would-
could probably.
The woman who I got the email from, I'll send her an email and say, could we have a few bricks?
You probably
Please.
can bring it over.
right.
And there's also a possibility that once the contractor is out there, if you happen to notice.
And sometimes it goes fast, even when you're there.
And I will say it does,
yeah.
But that would be really random, like if they're out there doing their thing and this guy comes up in a scarf and a sweater. I think we should do this the right way if this is something that,
Yeah.
I've been out walking in Webster and people have been doing work on historic homes. And I've been I'm like, and the contractor's like, yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Could we just set these aside and I'll go home and get my car?
Yeah.
And I mean, they're like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when I was at the county, I brought my daughter to a demolition thing once, and they were like, "Yeah, we're good." We didn't go into the site, but we were just right across the street. I mean, I walked up into it before they started and stuff, and then I mean, some of them they're just there because they want to knock it down. That's what they're getting paid for. So
yeah.
they're
There
really
was-
bad people.
there
From
was-
most of them, in my experience, I don't speak for everyone. but-
There was it was a construction site near where I live and they have these beautiful old shutters with, the hardware and like really cool cutouts. And the contractor had them leaned up against the dumpster facing the street.
Oh.
And I asked him, he was like, yeah, I was hoping somebody would want those.
Mm.
And, I've got plans to
Cool.
make like.
So you took.
Oh, you
I
did
took
take
him, I
them.
took him, oh, yeah. When I said, and he was like, yeah, I'll wait for you. He's like moved him around the corner.
Right.
And I did go home and get my car because, as I was
Right.
walking and, he helped me load him in my car and I've got cool plans to make garden gates out of it.
Most people, like I said, they'll put it in your car, they'll conditional. I've got stuff from the Wainwright building that they didn't want. It's all that's.
I remember that he ran the practice out of the basement, that side door that's on the
Yeah.
back,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so
Yeah,
the
it was-
patients go in and out.
Eventually, it was in the house, and then he made the basement at some point.
The
Yeah,
practice.
that was the office, and then he died in 1947, I think, and then another doctor, his partner, I think, took it over after that, but I'm not sure how long he ran the practice.
Very cool.
Yeah,
That is very cool.
Yeah, he started living there as a renter, because it looked like it was, on the building permit, it says it's built for, I think, 2 or 3 families. Originally, the design of it, and then he ended up, I think with a tax record that saw that he bought it in 1929. Or around 1930, that's right, he's listed on the 1930 census as a renter, but then later that year he bought it.
He was pretty young when he died.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine he was very old,
Yeah, he was younger.
Yeah.
And did you mention that his daughter, he has a daughter still
Two of
alive?
them, well, I don't
Right.
know, living, but yeah, 2 daughters.
I think one was once still alive, maybe, which I thought also, if we do anything where we write about a person, we probably should contact.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
good point.
In particular,
Very good point.
daughter, it's not like that's all that removed. It's-
Pretty thrilled.
So,
I don't know if I
She was
kept
born
up.
in the 30s, so she'll be pretty old.
Well,
oh no, he started there, well,
Yeah, 30s, but he passed away in 57.
I think
Well, we
one
can
of them
check.
was in 47.
We can check it out.
Yeah, so I mean,
That's
My
true,
mother
yeah.
was born
Still
45, so I mean.
probably.
Yeah, my dad was born in 1940, but. he'd
Well,
be like, I
descendants
don't care
might
what
have
it
some
is.
cool information too.
Yeah. I wonder if we should collaborate with the Historical Society on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we could get the learning set up here.
here, we're all sitting- John is all the great work, the 3 of us are.
Yeah, we could all. Yeah, we could talk to. Well, Hillary's archives, but the other guy, Bogosian, he's the research guy.
And Steve is.
Steve's the
Steve's the
archivist.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Steve's the
then-
archivist.
Yeah, then I work with Greg on the Century Home research.
Great.
But I'm also going to be meeting with Keita Quinn sometime soon about digitizing. And I could ask her what she knows about this property because she's knowledgeable about North Webster and the history. And,
Yeah.
yeah, we're trying to find out more about, and we're finding deeds and stuff like that, but we want to find out more about the families and what they. I'd heard that they would have sort of like, in essence, block parties on, and they call it
I
Johnson
sent you
Street.
one, Jason,
Yeah.
about some gal
Yeah.
that would have a.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I
barbecue.
said to everybody, she would have the barbecue for all her customers.
Yeah.
And it was a big, like, everybody wanted to be seen there.
Yeah,
It's
a big event.
Yeah,
Place to be.
they had the events and all, yeah. And they had events there for the community. So this lady was.
Something special.
Was listed as a laundress on her.
Yeah.
certificate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, motion to adjourn.
what's that?
A motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, motion to adjourn. Do we have one? Okay, a second.
Second.
Okay, everybody in favor of adjourning?
Right.
Unreadiness. Yes,
All right.
Get a
Motion-
barbecue, I'll say that.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
I love this stuff.
All right.
All right, I'll put our calendar and see what's
Thank
happening
you.
Good
next couple
idea.
weeks.
What if I should call it the Historical Society?
Well, she
Do it.
suggested there, even,
Oh, I have this for you guys to sign.
I like to go out of town on
I
Saturdays.
don't have, I have my pen, but it's kind of a finicky pen.
Afternoon, but I could, do
I
Saturday.
think it's in here.
I only have one.
Oh, I
I played to get a plaque.
It's like I have this pen, it's like a fountain pen. I should have to
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
it.
yeah, the minimum of an individual membership is $25.
Okay.
And then there's the fee for the
Mine
plaque.
is for
itself.
335 outside.
Yeah, so we're gonna be going to.
Yeah.
So they put their newsletter. They have meetings on, they're on Tuesday, that's why I could never go.
I guess particular time.
Well, you want to do it afternoon, I'm free. all afternoon.
stuff.
Okay.
Story.
Okay.
Yeah, watch Hillary won't be available.
Discussion.
Yeah.
So maybe we can pick out an
Another one?
alternate day.
Weekdays are good. We're not making. Mine's. 16th, I'm off.
You know, Arthur's.
I'm 16.